Welcome back to another episode of Fully Stoked Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Stokes. Cody is not with us today because he's out working his job, but I'm here interviewing another phenomenal guest. Her name is Esther Jimenez. Is that how you said it?
Yes,
Jimenez?
ma'am. That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
And Ada is, get ready guys, a licensed general contractor. How many female licensed general contractors do you know? Because she's the only one I've ever met, and I'm in this real estate and lending world. So I am so excited. When I met her, I met you at the event, right? Unscripted.
Yes, ma'am. You did. You
I like
did.
stopped the whole thing. I was like, you guys got to meet this lady. This is so cool. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about her. First of all, I want to introduce you. If you've never watched Fully Stoked podcast, I am Sarah Stokes, and I'm a senior mortgage loan advisor with Coast to Coast Mortgage. I do that by day, though. So I help people with all their financing needs for homes. But what I really like to do is connect people like Miss Ada and you. And I like to tell their story and I like to learn from them. And Ada is a full-time entrepreneur and business owner. She just started a couple of years ago. So she's been full-time for 2 years. Is that right, Ada?
Yes, ma'am.
All
So
right.
I have been going at it. I have been trying to do a lot of things, but I did want to make a clarification. I still have another full-time job.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Wow,
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
busy. And your
So
mom.
I have a feeling that that's going to come to an end at some point in time fairly soon. But I do like to be transparent because a lot of times, people have these connotations that you're supposed to just quit and leave everything and then pursue this business and it's just going to work out. And we have to remember that 95, 98% of businesses, they fail. So you have to make sure that you have your four walls covered. And that's what I've been trying to do. But I have grown enough now where I have hired an administrator. I am looking to hire an estimator. And I do see, that light at the end of the tunnel where I can say, you know what, the business is doing what it's supposed to be doing. I am able to leave the day job and just focus solely on the business. But on the business side, it feels like I am full time. So I have been hustling for the past 2 years, trying to perform at two different places and making sure that I get everything that has to be done.
I'm sure. That is a lot. And you're building your business. So it's not like you've had it in place and you decided to do something different as
No,
your other full-time job. So
no,
you're
no, no, no.
building. So you're hustling is the understatement. And may I just say, Ada told me a few minutes ago she's a single mom too. And I was a single mom for many years. So I know you have to hustle just to like get everything in and get everything done. And so we appreciate you. You
Thank
have a
you.
lot that we can learn from for
Thank you
sure.
for having me over. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah. So Ada's been breaking barriers and redefining leadership in the construction world. What in the world possessed you or like influenced you to want to get your licensed general contract license? Like that's big.
It is big. So, if I can give you a little bit of an overview. So, I came into this country. I am originally from the Dominican Republic. I came to the country when I was 14 and a half. My father, he's been here for over 30 years and he had a drywall company. So, that's the walls. And as the oldest child, we always had to learn, what he was doing. I had to learn a lot of the administrative work and we just needed to get things done. So, by 10 years old, I was doing paychecks and payrolls and paying people in cash or, doing timesheets and doing all sorts of things. So we had to grow up very fast, at least for me. When I came at 10th and a half grade, I didn't know any English. So that's when I learned what I know today. Oh, I am so sorry.
It's okay. It happens. You're a
My
businesswoman.
Zoom just rang. Let me sign out. All right,
No
so
worries.
I came in the 10th and a half grade. I didn't do anything, but I didn't have my green card. We were waiting for our green cards, and it's something that took about 10 years. So when I graduate at 16 and 3/4 from high school, no green card, I was not able to go to college. I was, I learned a lot of the English language. I was able to graduate in 2.5 years with honors, but I couldn't go to college. That was an impediment back then. And my dad told me, hey, you don't know where money's going to come, so you should probably do as many courses as you can and I'll pay for them. So I was doing bank teller, medical terminology. I did a tax course with like H&R Block. At 17, I became the tax preparer for the family. And then he mentioned, by the way, I learned from somebody that CPCC has the general contractors class. I didn't even know what that was. So I took the class. I was 17. I apparently am a good test taker. I memorized what they told me to memorize. And 20 days prior to my 18th birthday, I ended up passing the GC exam, the commercial license.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I have had it ever since I was, 17, 18 years old.
Wow.
At the same time, though, I end up getting pregnant. And I
Okay.
became a single mom, and I was like, oh my gosh, I saw my father as an entrepreneur, and he's not something that I wanted to pursue. I was like, I just need a paycheck, just a paycheck and to go home. I'm 18, 19, just trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So I have had my license ever since I was 17, 18.
Wow.
I wasn't pursuing it. Eventually, I get married to somebody, we get divorced, and I start pursuing an IT career. And I went to CPCC for my associates in IT and, start getting a job and another job and another job. And all throughout this time, I am renewing my GC license. I said, I don't think that I have the brains to pass that exam again. So I kept on renewing it every year. And about 3 years ago, 5 years ago, the seed was planted when I was trying to purchase a home as a single mom. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ready. I'm ready to buy something. And I was like, I paid off my car December 2019. And I said, all right, I cannot afford a mortgage in a car, so it has to be paid off. And then January 2020, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm going to get this done. And I was going to work with NACA. And I'm assuming that you know about NACA. It's not an
Yeah.
easy program, but I did it with my ex-husband. I figured that I could do it again. And I
Right.
said, I'm ready for NACA. And then COVID hit. And we know what has happened to the real estate market in the last 5 years in Charlotte. House more than doubled in prices. I got a pay cut from my day job because it was a travel company of 25% pay cut. But I was able, August 2020, I was blessed by a builder who was looking to sell to a single mom or a single dad.
Oh,
And
wow.
I literally had no competition in a way. I talked to my realtor. I upped the numbers a little bit because I had to become realistic on what was out there. And I was able to find a brand new construction. And I
Wow.
said, you know what? These numbers, they work with the NACA calculator. So I talked to my realtor. She called them and they're like, hey, we're looking to sell to somebody who in a normal circumstance is not able to afford a home. And this one has higher end finishes. It is an affordable home with higher end finishes. And I was there for the whole process of the construction, beginning
Wow.
to end. Like, it was dirt, and then I saw the whole thing. I was here every week, multiple times a week, taking photos, doing everything, and that ignited the passion of getting back into the construction industry. And then the seed was planted, and I'm like, but why do I want to start in construction? I mean, like, that makes no sense. But eventually, a year or something later, I created a company. And then I was like, but why again do I want to do this? It makes absolutely no sense. And then, a year after that is when I really started to focus on it, which was around December 2023, January 2024. So it's been a journey.
Wonderful. I mean, well, tell us what kind of jobs you do. So you're working another job too. Is it in
Yes.
IT?
Yes, ma'am. It
Okay.
is in IT.
Okay. So you know all that. That's right. When we were getting ready for the podcast, she was like, hold on, let me blur this. Let me do that. Let me do this. So I could tell you were very techie and that makes sense. But so like what kind of jobs are you building houses? Are you doing bathroom renovations? Are you doing kitchen renovations? Do you do handyman work? Like what types of things do you do?
Okay. So for me, when I started again with a construction company, I wanted to do affordable housing. I was like, I want to bless minorities and single moms with homes, just like these particular builder blessed me. I want to be able to do that. The dream hasn't dissipated, it's still there. I may need to pivot, may need to do it under a nonprofit, or may need to find out some of the opportunities so that I can do affordable housing. But the doors that God has opened in the past year and a half has been commercial work.
Oh, wonderful.
So my first introduction to the commercial space, I found a mentor in one of the million trainings that I have done. So I have done a lot of trainings. I have become very plugged in. One of the trainings was the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. Found that one up, and I started it like November, December 2023. And
Uh-huh.
when I started with the NASDAQ entrepreneurial training, their main thing is, what is the one milestone that's going to get you to move your business forward? And they asked me, well, do you have a team? Yes, you're a general contractor, but do you have a team? Are you going to lay every brick, every nail, every drywall, and do everything yourself? I said, man, I don't have a team. That was December 2023. So my milestone was to build a team. And I went full force. A million networking events for the city of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, the Women Business Center. I was talking to so many people. I met with someone around November 2023 prior to the NASDAQ training. And that was my first exposure to a networking event. And I went to that event, and this person said, hey, let's grab some coffee. I went with Clay to have some coffee, and he said, you should join this organization and that organization and that organization. So when I started with the NASDAQ training and they asked, what is your one milestone? Build your team. I reminded myself of the conversation from that person where we had coffee, and I went to all of those organizations, the Chamber of Commerce. Well, one of the people who knew and who is a mentor for the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, she had actually won a portion of the Spectrum Center scope of work for final construction cleanup. So I ended up having 38 people working last year at the Spectrum Center for a couple of months. Since then, I have built great relationships with some other, companies. And Messer Construction, they are a pretty amazing company. They allowed me to have the opportunity to pre-qualify for a couple of other projects, public projects. Right now, we are painting at the airport on a Concourse D renovation.
Wow.
We are also doing the final post-construction cleanup for this phase of the construction. There's another phase coming up that will be
My
working on.
God, these are big jobs.
They are.
Wow.
Working at a new CMS school, South Middle Number 1, also through Messer, and we're doing the Division 7 scope of work. So the waterproofing, fire stopping, caulking, and sealants. We're doing that one. And I have great subcontractors. I mean, I've met so many amazing people who are really great at their craft. A general contractor is as good as their subcontractors that they have. So we have the CMS school. We have also a police department that we're working on a scope of work. And last year, I ended up doing a little renovation at the convention center. We did a little bit of work in an office space, and I'm like, I don't care if it was one wall. We worked at the convention center. So we had that. And I have another CMS school that's going to be coming up where we're going to provide labor work. Now, that's commercial. So those are the doors that God has opened as of now.
Right.
They have nothing to do with affordable housing. On the housing portion, we'll be working soon with a nonprofit, which my passion is, mission-driven work. That's something that I really love to do.
Okay.
And we're going to help convert this particular home to a commercial space, because they are helping the community in West Charlotte. And once you are helping the community and more people are coming into the space, now you're considered a commercial space. So we're having to update some of the things so that it is up to code for the commercial code. So we're trying to figure out the zoning. I'm like, I think I need to get somebody else for the zoning. I can do the construction, but the zoning is where we are stuck. But that one is mission driven and is more on the residential side. And I will be working on a duplex.
Okay.
Sometime at the beginning, maybe middle of next year as well. So it's been an exciting journey. I'm very grateful to God for all of the opportunities that I have been able to receive. I have worked really hard as well. As I mentioned before, building those relationships and going to many, many different trainings. Completed last year, probably 70 hours of OSHA safety.
Wow.
I have completed multiple business trainings, one from the Carolinas AGC, one from Turner Construction. They are the number 1 construction company in the world, pretty much number 1, number 2. The city of Charlotte, they have always trainings for, entrepreneurs. So I have done the the City of Charlotte Contractor Development Program, and the multiple trainings in between, the Women Business Center. I mean, it's been a lot of information, and I am soaking it all in, and I am asking questions and grabbing people for coffee. And I know that I have found favor in so many
Yes.
people who have poured onto me. And that's why I love also to pour onto some other people as well.
So in the beginning, I had asked Ada before we started recording, I was like, do you ever do mentorships? Do you ever mentor anyone? And she said, precisely. Could you tell them what you told me? Because it was really beautiful, the way that you worded it.
Thank you. I already forgot how I said it, but
Well,
it's
you had just said because you were a single mom and
yes, yes.
yes.
So for me, I have always been coached and I have always, done a lot of research. Again, I am very, very technical, but I know that the way that the business is right now, the pipeline of work that we currently have, the pipeline of work that we're going to get in the future has been, first of all, by the grace of God, but also by all of those people that I have found favor in. And I am mission driven. I want to make sure that I pay that forward. Even before I had the business, I was always thinking, well, I am decently good with financial literacy. I know that with my lower middle class salary, it's not for me to have the home that I have or to be able to take, a once a year vacation or to be able to have a 6 months emergency fund. So I know that financial literacy and management and making sure that you're doing things the way that you're supposed to do is what's going to help you to move forward. And I love to share that. I love to talk to other people, especially the single moms, such as myself, so that they know that we can be successful. We don't have to be another statistics. I could easily be the 18-year-old single mom who is doing things that may not be what I'm doing right now. We could, just like yourself, being a single mom, it is easily thought as, they're going to be a failure. They're never going to accomplish anything. And I want them to know that it is possible. I want them to know that if we work hard, if we do what we need to do, that we are able to change our family tree, that we are able to give our kids another example, that you don't need to follow the status quo, and that we can do amazing things. We have to, be grounded in our faith and work really hard, but anything is possible. We can accomplish anything. And if nothing else, what I have learned in the past year and 3/4 is that my dreams were so small. And I have had people,
Okay.
tell me, multiple people, and I hear that all the time. It's like when I had a training with the City of Charlotte 2 months ago, I had a meeting with Mr. David Willis. He is a coach, a business coach. And he says, so where do you see your business in 3 to 5 years? I'm like, $5 million revenue. He said, that low. And every time that I put myself on a ceiling of this is what I think that I can accomplish, all of these mentors, they continue to challenge me and push me forward. And I am doing the same thing to other people. Like Sunday, I went to this brunch with some ladies and I was literally spilling the same thing that they're telling me. I'm like, that is such a small goal. You need to branch out. You need to think bigger. You need to start doing some other stuff and stepping outside of your comfort zone so that you're able to accomplish amazing things in the future.
Wow. Okay, just while you were talking, I'm inspired. I have several other things that in 2026, I'm in charge of securing speakers for a few different groups, and I would love to have you to come and everything you said. And I mean, maybe even as a service to the community and perhaps even gear it towards single moms, and
Yeah.
homeownership and how to overcome. You said financial literacy. So it sounds like you've had so many trainings and you've had so many mentors and so many coaches over the years. It comes out of your mouth very easily. Like, what you're talking about and you're living proof of it. So who better to lead that or to talk about that than you, Ada? So I would love it if maybe we can look at the calendar and think of something that we can come together and do for the community.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
know you're primarily in Charlotte. So I say Charlotte, but my home is in Union County, and I'm a part of a group in Union County and then a women's group in Charlotte, and then also in Asheville because my husband lives in Asheville. So I have a women's group there. So between the three of those places, I'm sure,
I'm
You could
sure that
maybe
we can
even,
make it work. I've never
yeah.
been to Asheville yet on a vacation, so maybe this may be what I need.
I would love for you to come and speak. That is so inspiring and what you've overcome. And I mean, you didn't speak English and you were 14 and a half. You got here in the 10th grade. You graduated with honors, learned how to speak English, and they wouldn't let you go to college. So you just started taking every class you could. And see, that's not, a lot of people don't have that mentality, but you're very tenacious. I keep saying that every time I meet a business owner or a women entrepreneur, you know, tenacity is really important. You have to stick to it. You have to keep trying, keep going, and keep going, and be smart about it. So I'm so excited to see what your future is going to hold. So
Thank you.
speaking of that, it sounds like you do have something in the works as far as a duplex, because I know you wanted to serve the community,
Mhm.
especially single moms. Do you have any other goal? And you said your goals were too small. So if you had to say, kind of what you were thinking about maybe a year, 2 years, or 5 years, what did you change what you said when I believe you said Clay asked you what your goal was?
So Clay, he is an insurance bonding on the commercial side, but he's an amazing guy. And I met him, I think it was October, November 2023, and that was like my first construction, person that I met. And I was like, I'm new. I have no idea where to start. And he provided me the names of many of the organizations that I eventually joined and how I was able to obtain so many trainings. And then in those trainings, one of the main things that they ask is, what are your goals? What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? I'm like, I just want to get through today and tomorrow. That is it. And as I've mentioned so many times, I'm like, Lord, I just want the associate's degree, but you're giving me a PhD. Like
Yeah,
whenever you're working at the Spectrum Center, for example, and now you're having to learn how to maneuver 30 people, 38 people, and how you have to make it work with management and foreman supervisors and doing all of these things that you haven't done before. For the airport, I'm like, oh my gosh, submittals. I don't know how to get the submittals. That brought tears into my eyes. So I was calling some other business owners who have been doing this. I mean, you can say competition, collaboration. I am more of a collaborator. And as I mentioned before, I have found favor. Well, guess what? They took 30 minutes of their time to walk me through and say, hey, Ada, look, so this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. When you go here and you do that, it may not have been perfect, but it opened my eyes to, oh, this is how you think for getting this. Well, now I know that, hey, whenever you get a project, you need to account for all of the general conditions and you need to make sure that you account for parking and where is it at? Do you have to pay for background checks? Do you need to do a million other stuff that for most people, we're not thinking about that in the residential space. So I do want one day in the next 5 to 10 years, I want to be able to, from the profit that we're making, I want to be able to gift a single mom a home. That is,
wow.
that is something that I have in my mind that I would love to do. And I want to start by maybe building something at cost and then actually gifting a single mom a home, someone who would be, of course, deserving of this, and then hopefully just continue to do that and do it over and over again, so
Right.
that we can continue to bless more moms, out there. And it could be a single dad, like my neighbor. He is a single dad. But of course, I gear more towards the mom because that's who I
Right.
am. But
Yeah.
there are some single dads, out there as well who need to be blessed. But again, more for the single moms from me. But if I could do that, like that is something that I have on my vision board. Like I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to bless consecutively 100 families with work. In order to do that, you need to have
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of projects going on at the same time so that you can bless those people. So again, when I started, my dreams very small. I'm like, I just want to replace my day job salary and maybe, a little more so that I can go on a vacation. And
Dream
now
big,
it's
right?
now
Yes.
it's like, no, that is too small.
Well, I hear you talking about God a lot, and I also am a huge fan of the big guy. So, anyway, I think when he gives us a task, if you just try to cover your income and pay your bills, then that's all you're going to get. But if you're obedient, right, he will provide a way for you to bless 100 families consecutively with work, and then single moms every year, and maybe single dads every year with a home. I mean, nothing is too big, as you're like a living testimony of it. I mean, you came here not even speaking English, and now you're a female general contractor in the greater Charlotte area. You've worked at the Spectrum Center, you've worked at the Chamber, you've worked at the Convention Center. Maybe, sorry, I don't know if you worked at the Chamber.
Convention Center, the airport.
The airport. I mean, these are huge. That's amazing. You're a homeowner and you work a full-time job as an IT person. That's really amazing too.
Thank you.
So I think nothing is going to be impossible for you, Ada. I think you are very special. And I do say that a lot because I think when you get to know someone and you know their story, if they care, then they have tried really hard. And I think people can see that, and they're going to take from that. They're going to take a lot of things for that. I do have one question for you though.
Yes, ma'am.
What have you seen like in the construction industry that maybe you would like to change? Is there one thing that you can think of? And it could even maybe even overlap with another question I had for you, which was, it is a male dominated field, right? So I don't know if it sounds like you've had some good male mentors though. So I don't know how you feel about that. Like, does that play into it?
So the construction industry, just like in the IT world, it is very male dominated. When I started in IT, 10 years ago or so, 2016 is when I graduated from CPCC, and I worked like a year prior as an intern, very male dominated, but I found favor. I was able to get that first job, and I became the number one employee for that company pretty much after the first month. In the construction industry, what I have realized is that, yes, very male dominated. There are going to be times where, people are going to think that you are the secretary, that you are just the help, that you are not really the business owner. And they get confused when you may say that, hey, I own this business and I'm trying to grow it. But once again, I have probably been from the exception where I have found, again, favor in so many other people, some men, some women, probably half and half. And I am, I want to, us women to take over the world, but we need our fellow men to be able to do it.
Yes, we do.
And the main opportunities, for example, that I had with Messer Construction, Lisa, she is their economic inclusion and development, person. And she was an advocate, but we needed to get all of the project managers, and they're mostly men. We need to get them on board and say, hey, we want to give Ada a chance. She's come to every event. She's always here. She's always asking questions. She'll figure it out. She has great people that can do the work. She only needs an opportunity. And the VP and the, higher up and the project managers, I'm sure that they had to get together and say, you know what, we're going to give her a chance. All right, Ada, this is what you need to do for us to give you a chance. And I did what they asked me to do. I got everything done. If they asked for whatever, I gave them whatever they were looking for so that I could move on to that level, so that I can get pre-qualified. So for me, I'm sure that there are people out there who don't want to see me succeed, whether they're male or female. But I have always prayed and said, Lord, may the people that you place in front of me, may those people either be because I need to bless them with something, or because they're going to bless me with something. And if that's not what they're going to need, what they're going to do, then I don't need to talk to them and I don't need to see them. And I'm pretty quick at, cutting conversations that may not be useful, that may be, degrading. I'm like, you know what? I really wish you an amazing time. And God bless you, but that's not something that I'm gonna dwell on it. So I gravitate towards people who, want to grow, who want to see me succeed, who wants to succeed themselves, and who have a passion and, a mission and a vision-driven type of mindset.
Right. So you're not like passive about it. You actually seek out those people who are positive and going to pour into you. And then you, like you said, you pray about it and you say, or I could pour into them. I could bless them.
100%.
I like that. It's a very positive outlook. You're not looking for somebody to just give you something. You're just like, well, if I can't, glean something, then I can maybe give something, or I'll just check out of this conversation. I really like that.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, there's no reason to stay in a conversation that's going to degrade you, that's going to lower your self-esteem. I am also very coachable, and I make sure that people knew that. So, one of my main things that I say to certain people, because you have to ask God for wisdom and discernment is, hey, don't let me fail because you think that I'm not going to receive this the right way. Like this morning, I have been doing job interviews for a role, and this particular friend said, hey, you may want to consider a contractor instead of an actual employee with all of the extra overhead. And I was in my feelings this morning and I was feeling overwhelmed. Well, I went to my favorite Bible verse, Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything. I asked my key people who I know are there and who are praying for me. I say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I need some help. I am feeling a little overwhelmed and I am trying to figure out if I need to hire as a contractor or as an employee. Well, guess what? One of the interviews that I had today literally matched word for word what a mentor told me on a ride over to Raleigh 3 weeks ago. And
Wow.
as I am speaking with this man, I'm just remembering that conversation with this person. And I said, talk about God aligning everything.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of faith, and I feel like without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. Again, I should be another statistics, and I'm a firm believer that God opens the right doors and shuts the one that do not need to be open. So whenever an opportunity gets lost, and that happens all the time, if an
Wow.
opportunity doesn't happen, I truly believe that that's what meant to happen. And with the work that I'm putting in, if it is meant to happen, it is going to happen.
Right. Wow. You're very inspiring. Very, very inspiring. I mean, I really want to compliment you. You are very coachable. I wrote that down a while ago on my first sheet of paper where I'm taking notes, that she
Thank
is
you.
very coachable. And I think that's really critical for young people or people just stepping out into their entrepreneurial journey, is to be coachable and to seek people that can coach you. That's exactly what you're doing. And you're
Yes.
very open-minded about it. You're not prideful. You're not like, well, I don't want to listen to that person. So
Mm-mm.
I like that. You're very coachable. Okay.
Thank you.
So if you could tell your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh gosh, it will be okay. I think a
Wow.
lot of times, we get overwhelmed. So I am an overanalyzer. Before I make a decision, normally I am, thinking about the million consequences that are going to have. Eventually, I will
Mhm.
make the decision, but it takes a long time of me thinking and then praying about it. And then, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then, okay, Lord, I'm going to give this to you because I have no idea how to handle this. And then the right answer comes to mind. So for me is it will be okay. Don't take things so seriously that you forget to live. Because a lot of times the pressures of the world, especially as a single mom, they become a lot. And you forget that you are still, young, that you still have to enjoy life and do things to keep yourself sane. I mean, self-care is something that I
Yeah.
always forget about. So if I could do something over, hey, it will be okay. Don't forget about your self-care and make sure that you have a little fun in the process. It is not that serious. I mean, it is, but it's not, right? And don't forget to have that life that you want to have now. I mean, it is not whenever you're 60, 70 years old. You can enjoy life right now, which I normally try to do. I am not spontaneous, so I force myself to be. Or every so often, if somebody tells me something, hey, let's go here, I'm like, "Oh, okay, let's go." Maybe take life a little bit less seriously.
I like
I
that.
am a very serious person. I love having, one-on-one deep conversations like this right here. I love it. Group conversations, I get a little, uh,
Yeah, me
like
too.
in my shell. But it's like, it is okay to enjoy it, have fun. Don't forget about yourself. You're always given. And many times you forget that you have to take care of you.
Yes. All right. So my challenge for you is sometime in 2026,
Hmm.
hopefully 2026, we do something. I mean, I have a lot of women platforms, and I would love for you to come and help, and whoever you want to gear it toward. I hear single mom a lot, but
Hmm.
whatever you want to, I think. And then once you lead, you seem like you're really good at leading and talking. But a room full of people networking gets overwhelming for me too. But I'm okay if I'm actually like emceeing it. I can MC it, or I can do one-on-one talking, but I don't like to do the whole room full of networking.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so we'll do that. That's my challenge for you. And if people want to connect with you, if the listeners want to connect with you, I'm going to link your social media information here and your website. Anything else you want me to share, your email or anything? I guess it's probably on your website too.
Yes, ma'am. So all of that information is on the website. I will give you my social media handles. I am on, pretty active on LinkedIn. That is probably the most professional, place. My business phone number is 704-444-0721. My company email, construction.com. You are welcome to reach out to me about if you just want to connect, if you are needing support on the construction space, on a project, if you just want to, bounce ideas, get connections. I am big on connecting people. With an interview that I had today, for example, I'm like, hey, if I don't hire you, you're pretty good. Maybe I can connect you with somebody else. And I am okay with doing those things. So again, if there's anything that I can be of service, please do reach out.
Thank you. Thank you again so much for your time. I know your time is very valuable and we appreciate it so much. You have really taught me something today, a lot of things. Actually, I have notes. Look at these notes. I've never had that
I
many
don't
notes
know how you
before.
can write that much.
Well, I was just sitting here going, okay, hold on, let me write that down. It was like so good. It's so many good things. So thank you. And I can't wait. Maybe a part B coming in the future, everybody.
I would
So
love to.
until then, yes, until then, we will see you next time on Fully Stoked. Thank you so much, Ada. I will send you an email soon.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.